Let's go to this now. Members of the British royal family have rushed to be with Queen Elizabeth as doctors have expressed concern about the health of the 96-year-old monarch. We understand that her children are with her, including Prince William as well. Now, doctors say the Queen will remain under medical supervision. Several world leaders have expressed concern over the Queen's health and have also wished her well. Let's get more details now with our correspondent in London, Laura Mackin-Isherwood. Laura, thank you so much for your time. Her doctors are concerned for her health, but some reports say that she remains comfortable. What's the latest?
Yeah, well, all we have officially is this statement that was released by Buckingham Palace earlier today that said the Queen's doctors are concerned for Her Majesty's health and have recommended she remain under medical supervision. We then heard, of course, that members of the royal family had been informed of this development and they started making their way towards Scotland to Balmoral Castle, where Her Majesty the Queen is currently situated. So we know that Prince Charles, he's next in line to the throne, of course, his wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, and then Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, who is the Queen's daughter, were already at Balmoral. Then other members of the royal family flew to Aberdeen Airport, which is just an hour's drive from Balmoral Castle, to then join the rest of their family. So we now know that Prince William, Sophie the Countess of Wessex, the Duke of Wessex, known as Prince Edward, of course, and the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, they have all now arrived at Balmoral Castle and they are all alongside Her Majesty the Queen there.
Do we know in fact, the update around Prince Harry? Because we do understand from some reports that the spokesperson says that he'll be traveling alone and is making his way there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the other sort of indication that a lot of members of the royal family were being rallied around. The Sussexes seemingly indicating they were going to travel, and now hearing that Prince Harry is going to be travelling alone. He was not on that jet alongside other members of the royal family, considered quite close to the Queen. There was a photograph, of course, that we've seen most recently of Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, and her husband, Prince Edward, looking quite sombre in the back of a vehicle travelling towards Balmoral Castle. But we're waiting to catch a glimpse now of Prince Harry. It's not clear what method of transport he's using or indeed how long it might take him to get up to Scotland. He was at Windsor Castle at Frogmore Cottage, which is in the grounds of Windsor Castle, alongside his wife, Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, there following a visit to the UK and to Germany for charity events. So it now seems like he's also making progress towards Scotland.
Let's talk about the messages of support that we've seen. I mean, we're also seeing the new British Prime Minister releasing a statement wishing the Queen well. What else has she had to say?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, the message was broken as Prime Minister Liz Truss was in Parliament, basically telling MPs about her new plan to curb energy costs for families over the next couple of years. And there was this kind of rustling and movement among MPs on both sides of the House, so both the government and also opposition Labour, as well, as these notes were passed along the front benches. And that, it seems, was that message being passed to those leaders that Her Majesty the Queen was under medical supervision. So we've got a situation, of course, where the Prime Minister will now have to find out what is going on and move on from there.
And let's talk about the public support, because we're also seeing in some pictures, crowds starting to gather at, the Queen Victoria Memorial steps. We're also seeing Buckingham Palace, because, of course, a lot of people on the ground will then be concerned by what is going on here. Are we seeing the numbers growing?
Yeah, there are crowds gathering. Sorry, it seems like my video wall has just decided to stop working, so apologies about that. But there have been crowds growing in terms of the number, of course, outside Buckingham Palace. They're all waiting to see if there's any movement, any indication in terms of a statement coming officially from Buckingham Palace or an update on Her Majesty's health. Also, crowds will be heading, we think, towards Windsor Castle. That is another key residence for Her Majesty the Queen. She's moved away from Buckingham Palace over the last few months in this, her Platinum Jubilee year, towards Windsor Castle. It's where other members of the royal family are closely based as well. So quite understandably, a lot of the public will be keeping their eyes fixed on their television screens, just trying to get the latest on these updates from the Queen.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, says he's sending prayers, and the First Ministers of Scotland and Wales saying that the Queen is in their thoughts. Have there been any other messages of support?
Well, yeah, there have been messages from prime ministers, presidents from around the world sending their well wishes to Her Majesty the Queen, not least Justin Trudeau in Canada. And of course, she is the head of the Commonwealth. So, tens of states have seen her or had links with this monarch over her 70-year reign. She plays a really key part in their history. And also, this will signal a kind of shift, a movement towards, and a real, sort of a recognition that she is indeed 96 years of age. And there will be at some point a shift in the monarchy towards Prince Charles becoming the next king. But at the moment we have to deal in facts, of course. All we know is that this statement has been released by Buckingham Palace and that she is being watched by medical experts.
Definitely, as you say, facts there as we wait for more details to come from this particular story. Let's leave it there with you for now, Laura. We'll continue to touch base with you to see if there's any update, if at all. We'll bring you more on this particular story throughout the news bulletins on the channel. That was SABC News correspondent Laura Mackin-Isherwood. We've got more news for you after the break.